It's Huggy Bear, and you're watching the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the show. My name is LLOXX, and I'm going to be your host. I'd like to first and foremost give thanks to God for giving me the talent to bring you this show. I'd also like to thank you all for tuning in. Now, they don't call me LLOXX just because of my hairstyle. It's actually an acronym which stands for Living Life Only Expecting Excellence, which is something that all of us should learn to do. Now, while you're here, you may laugh, you may cry, you might learn a few things, but the overall goal is for you to enjoy yourself. So without further ado, let's make it do what it do, baby. Now, this first sister coming up is a bad mama jam in the kitchen. But get this, she don't even use a stove, y'all. So let's get raw with Chef 7 Star right here on the show.
Greetings, I'm Chef 7 Star, and welcome to Let's Get Raw, where we're going to prepare delicious raw foods. Raw foods are fresh, uncooked fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And we use a little herbs and spices. But of course, our body is our temple. So when we put the living fruits and vegetables of life into our temple, then our body gives us wellness and vitality. And that's what it's all about. So now we're going to make some wonderful raw foods.
What's up, everybody? This is LLOXX. You're watching the show.
Alrighty, so let's get started. Today what we're going to make is a pasta Alfredo. Now, most times Alfredo is packed with a whole bunch of calories and cheese and all those good things, right? But we're going to make it today using a base of cashews. Alright, we're going to use a base of cashews, some zucchini, a little bit of chopped red pepper, some purple onion, a little garlic, broccoli, and we're going to make an amazing salad, but it's going to give you the same feel as if you were eating pasta Alfredo. So you get all the taste and deliciousness without the calories and with vitality giving foods, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. First, we're going to peel our zucchini. The zucchini is going to be our base. Instead of using noodles that can tend to have gluten in it, if you're staying away from gluten these days, then zucchini is a wonderful option for you. I love zucchini with raw foods because it's highly versatile. So we're going to make noodles out of this that are going to assimilate linguine, those nice, long, thick strips of noodle, which absorb the flavor and give you a nice textural contrast. So I just peel off the skin here. And this is our compost bin. Okay, so I'm just going to take all of this off. Now that we have our zucchini peeled, this is how we're going to create magic, okay? You don't need a lot of fancy equipment, although I'm going to show you another recipe where we're going to use some other stuff. But this is a basic vegetable peeler, the same I used to take the skin off with, right? Well, now we're going to use the same thing to make our linguine noodles. So we're just going to take the zucchini and just slide it down like that. Make sure you hold on tight so that you don't slip around and, drop this all over the place. And you got to be careful when you're using sharp objects in the kitchen. So we're just doing this here to make our noodles. Really easy. And it's actually much easier to make than it is to boil some noodles, actually. Takes a lot less time, and it stays in the body a lot less time, which is good, and it hydrates the body, because we don't want stuff that sits in the body and collects matter, because it just, makes you more congested and heavier. And of course, we're all about vitality. So now that we have our zucchini peeled here, as you see, these wonderful linguine-like noodles. Now, you saw how short of a time that took. When you're getting into making noodles on the stove, that could probably be like a 20-minute process. You might get them right, might not, but this is perfect every time, okay? So now we have that. We have a little bit of chopped, not too thick, because you want to make sure your pieces aren't too big. But we have some nice chopped red pepper. I'm just going to sprinkle in there. And then even some green, purple onions. And I like using purple onions, but there's all kinds of onions you could use. So you have a little onion in there. And then I'm going to take some broccoli, and all I'm going to do is just break it up in here like this. Don't really even need to chop it. Just break it up, because of course when you're in the kitchen, you're putting your love and energy into the food. And so using your hands is a wonderful way of doing that. So now we're going to go ahead and just break up more broccoli into our salad. And I don't use the stem, we're going to compost that. Just break up your broccoli in here. Okay. Well, see, it looks amazing already. You get the colors. Because with food, food should feed all of our senses. The way it smells, the way it looks, the colors, the way it tastes, all of that. So because live foods or raw foods are so filled with vitality, they feed all of our senses. So I'm just adding a little bit more broccoli. And that's that. Now we're gonna get into making the cheese. So if you're staying away from dairy, or if you just want an alternative, this is how you can make a wonderful cheese. And then we even may have a show one day where I show you how to make ice cream from the same thing. Cashews are super versatile as well. So we're gonna make a cheese using cashews, a little bit of onion powder, some garlic powder, some sea salt, and a little bit of honey and lemon. So we just pour this in here. Okay. And the way I am in the kitchen, it's all about flavor and just kind of paying attention. This is a little bit of garlic powder. I'm just gonna sprinkle on a little in here. You probably want measurements, but what you'll learn from me is I don't do that. I just like it to taste really good. So we have some onion powder here too. Just be careful not to overdo it. A good amount is nice. A little bit of sea salt, not too much, because we can add more if we need to later. And then lemon. Just gonna squeeze 1/2 of a lemon, and I just use my hand to catch the seeds here. Okay. And I'm gonna put a little bit of honey, so I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of sweetness in here, because cheese has a slightly sweet, slightly salty flavor. And so we definitely wanna make sure that we incorporate that into our cheese, our cashew cheese. So now we're just gonna go ahead, start this blender. So now we're finished blending our cashews. It's been blending for about 3 minutes. And so when you're actually creating your cheese, you want to make sure you have the right measurement of water to your nuts. That way you won't have an overly watery cheese. So the way you do that would be to have 1 whole cup of water to 1/2 cup of cashews soaked. And you want to soak them because it releases the enzymes and it makes it much easier on your blender and on your digestive system. So now what we're going to do here is pour our cheese over our salad. So this is going to be our pasta Alfredo. Didn't take any time at all. And I mean, it actually is much quicker than making a pasta Alfredo on the stove. And you created all the ingredients yourself. I'm going to show you what to do with the leftover cheese as well. Because not only does it make a wonderful dip, so as you see I have this little broccoli here. If you want to make a wonderful dip, you can use the cashew cheese for that. So many different uses. Okay, so now I'm just going to stir up our pasta. And this is our pasta Alfredo. You see how simple and easy that was? Without dairy, without cooking. This is just another way of creating salads. And this is what I do. I change the face of salads. All right, so now that we have our salad complete, or our wonderful raw creation, we're going to just add a little bit of this basil, and it's mixed with a little crushed pepper. It's gonna add not only a flair, but it's gonna create a nice herbal tone to our salad, as well as a little spice, because I love to have spice. So, now that we've completed our pasta Alfredo, I'm gonna put it on a nice little pretty plate so that you can see how it looks. Okay. And to top it off, what we're gonna do is just add a little bit of sun-dried tomato to this. Just gonna dice up a sun-dried tomato. That's all we're gonna do. And it's wonderful if you soak them beforehand, but this one's pretty nice and easy to cut. It just requires a little muscle, but working out in the kitchen with healthy foods keeps you healthy because you're always chopping and cutting and doing all of that. So now we have a wonderful and delicious pasta Alfredo that you can enjoy, and it is simply a salad. All right, so let's taste our wonderful raw creation. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Well, we'll be back right after these messages with more of the show.
You gonna buy my goddamn beer?
I'm not paying for that.
Oh, I can't stand you. You ain't my daddy. I always thinking it's about you. Can you please put that beer back up on this counter? You don't want none of this today. Can I get
Look,
please,
I done
sir?
told y'all.
I'm not gonna ask you again.
Man, I need a new life.
What? You said you need a new wife. You can suck my big toe, you ugly motherfucker. Who in the hell do you think you are? It's not about you anyway. I can't believe I was crazy enough to let you put your little in me anyway, you short-winded premature bastard. Oh, I can't stand you. I wish you'd go to hell. Go somewhere, but not with me.
Garrett Morgan was born March 4, 1877 in Paris, Kentucky. In 1907, Morgan opened his own sewing machine and shoe repair shop, which he later expanded into a tailoring shop as well. Morgan patented a safety hood and smoke protector after seeing firefighters struggling from the smoke they encountered in the line of duty. Having invented other things such as the self-extinguishing cigarette, black hair oil dye, and the curved tooth comb to straighten hair, he's probably best known for his invention of the traffic signal. This is Wesley LLOXX Daniels, and this has been your Black History Moment.
My name is Janae. I'm from Maryland.
My name is Jamie and I'm from North Carolina. And you're watching the show.
We are the Track Club from Maryland. And you're at the Joint Olympics in Greensboro, North Carolina. And you are watching the show.
All right, so for the recipe we created today, as well as many other wonderful raw food recipes, get my book, Wow, That's Raw. It's available on Amazon and on my website, 7starlightfoods.webs.com. So I just want to thank you for tuning in to us here today. Remember, your body is your temple, and as you put the gifts of life into your temple, it will give you vitality, longevity, peace, and joy. So I thank you for joining me, and we will see you next time here on the show.
Hey, Terry. I snuck some chef service pasta Alfredo. Let's check it out. Hey.
That is awesome.
Hey, man. Man, why you like all the...
What?
Some people make me want to smack you. I'm gonna try and do some more, dude. You want some more?
Yeah.
Hello, my name is LaTanya Sims, and I want you to join me on the show for my segment LOL. You know what that means. I'll be interviewing comedians and others involved in the entertainment industry. So stay tuned and let's LOL together. I'll see you on the show.
Hello everybody, this is Brother Saeed, the owner of Pitchlight Entertainment, and you're watching the show.
Hi, I'm Gerald Prescott Sales from AMC's The Walking Dead, attending the National Black Theater Festival, and you're watching the show.
Welcome back, y'all. Now this next segment is with a sister named Heavenly Walker, good friend of mine, and she's interviewing a very, very down-to-earth brother, man. This brother was so cool, man. It was a blessing to meet him, and let me shut up, man, and let Heavenly Walker speak on right here on the show.
Hi, I'm Heavenly Walker, and I'm here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina at the National Black Theater Festival. I'm going to be bringing to you an exclusive interview with our very own Mr. Ralph Carter. Some of you may know of him as Michael Evans from Good Times, and we definitely had a good time. And just speaking with you yesterday, I was very inspired by just hearing your story and just learning more about you. What or who would you say inspires you to continue doing what you do?
First and foremost, it's my welcomed opportunity to be on the show. I thank you for this particular dialogue. What has inspired me is my family and the love of my family. A family who's been with me through thick and thin, who were there with me at the beginning of my professional journey, let alone my life journey. And throughout the decades, they have stuck with me. So that inspiration alone, to know that I'm loved by them first, that's my priority. Everything else is a compliment.
Well, good. I like the way family is always important, in my opinion. Like you just can't go but so far.
I adore my family.
That's good. I like to hear that. You hear about so many that don't adore their families when they are, especially child stars, and have, you know, seen that side of the business and seen the bad side, not for you, but for others. Right. Tell me, what, because I know, like, my daughter wants to act, and I know a lot of people who children want to get into that business.
Yes.
What would you say to the parents
yes.
of a child that either wants to be a performer, whether it's acting or singing, and you know, what would you give them as far as encouraging words or guidance?
I would say for those parents who have children interested in the arts, that the parents should keep the child grounded, so that the child does not think that that child is the center of the world, and that the young actor or actress has to work with other people. Many times in my career, I received jobs because people wanted to work with me. I developed a reputation as a child artist of having a basic personality that people get along with. My mother was not what was considered a stage mother. My mother was a wonderful, gentle disciplinarian, so that I knew that I had no right to mess up. But my job was to deliver and work with ensembles, so that those parents who do have children who want to be in the arts, they must first encourage them in their craft, help to develop those talents and bring them out so they can reach in perfection. My perfection was that I was a child who could act, sing, dance, and had phenomenal remedy.
Oh, you did it all.
Well, whatever a remedy is, I had one.
You did it all. I was reading, I was like, oh, I've been on Broadway, did this and that.
I had a wonderful childhood. I had the chance
to
work with some of the most brilliant men and women in show business who preceded other generations before I began my work in the very early 1970s. And as a consequence of that, I really was in a school in real time. My on-the-job training came by doing it, as opposed to, there's some children who went to dance class and to singing classes, vocal classes, their parents or their guardians invested massive amounts of money for their talent, whereas my sister Vicky and I, we had what were called natural gifts. That's how we applied them. We didn't have to go through all of that stuff. These children read Variety and Hollywood Reporter and things like that. that was their Bible, you know. We didn't have that experience.
That wasn't out when you
when I first
started.
entered into show business, Heavenly, I tell you, when I first entered into show business, those children were very strange to us. We had not met children like that before.
Where they make you?
Yeah, you know.
I don't know that
you know
one.
your lines? I said, yeah, I read the script, but you know.
So tell me, was this something that you wanted to pursue as a child, or did the opportunity just come to you and it just, you know, with your natural talent and everything, did it just, an opportunity presented itself and you just nailed it and kept it running from there, or?
What you said is very complimentary to what I want to answer. First and foremost, I grew up in a creative environment, to the degree that being born in New York City, I went to the elementary schools within my borough of Brooklyn. By virtue of that, I somehow always happened to be picked and chosen as a child to be in the school plays. I began in my church as the young vocalist on the junior choir, and during my elementary school years, I happened to be casted in a production in which it was a musical, and that musical was heard by two teachers that worked in my school. My mother also worked as a paraprofessional in that same school. Those two teachers saw a play on Broadway, which is called The Me Nobody Knows, and had happened to see a brilliant young actor named Robert Grant, who played the role of Benjamin in The Me Nobody Knows. And those two teachers found out that there were open auditions going in for summer stock at that time. So they recommended to my mother to consider to have me and my sister Vicky go down for our auditions. And I went to 42nd Street on the old, I should say 46th Street, excuse me, at the old Helen Hayes Theater. It was a sunny spring afternoon, and I went and did my first audition. I didn't even know what an audition was. My mother explained it to me, and then I got a call back. I didn't know what a callback was. So all of these new words were being added into my lexicon, and I had to change my whole syntax of how I express myself even as a child actor, because I got called back 3 times.
Wow.
And I found out when I began to be in the union that after 3 times, not only do they give you a job, they're supposed to give you a check. So I learned early the dynamics of that too. So the songs I sang at the time that were hits were Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. I sang Where Is Love from Oliver, and I did a good job. Actually, I did a phenomenal job. I'm gonna say it just like that.
You got the part.
Yeah, I was the new kid on the block with the golden voice, and from that point on, based on the wonderful encouragement from those 2 teachers and my mother's decision to take me to that audition to the Helen Hayes Theater at that time in the early 1970s, I landed my first job in summer stock.
Wow. Well, that's an inspiring story, that because it shows you that, you know, others paid attention to the talent that you already had.
Yes.
Whether you weren't like, Mommy, I want to do this. It was more like teachers saying, look, this kid might have something.
Show business was the furthest thing from my mind. I've always wanted to be a medical doctor.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you are the furthest thing from a medical doctor.
No, but I've raised 2 nephews who are medical.
Awesome.
So vicariously,
you living through that?
Still got it done.
You in the ER.
I got to live through Uncle Ralph, and I want them to live through themselves.
Awesome.
And they're still wonderful men now, but they became what I originally might have wanted to be, but that was not my destiny.
Yeah.
My destiny was
This
to
is
be
your
an
destiny.
artist.
How many National Black Theater Festivals have you attended, and what do you feel that you gained from being here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and being a part of this biannual event?
I must give credit to Mr. Larry Leon Hammer for creating this wonderful environment for us biannually. But John Amos, who played my father on Good Times, initiated me into this particular fraternity in 1999.
Okay.
That's when I first made my journey to the wonderful city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Okay.
And from that time on, I kept coming. I couldn't wait till the next 700 days passed. And I think what was most endearing, and still is endearing, is the fact that for us in the theater, this is like our family reunion. And we see many of the actors and actresses that we knew at the actual premiere of their own careers. Many of them were still developing. The world had not known them, and we knew them. And by virtue of that, when we do come every 2 years, it's a splendid feeling because we've all grown in our craft, and many of us have become not only stage actors, but film and television actors, so that reunion is not only appealing to us, but it's very sincere and genuine. And these are people who we organically love and have worked with in the theater, so that when we know we're coming to Winston-Salem, we get ready.
It's reunion time.
Yes, it is. And also the wonderful people in the city receive us so warmly that to be facetious or obnoxious is, maybe those are personality traits that should be left wherever you live. But you only got 7 days to be here, so why don't you, show your best foot forward.
And I've seen you just interact with so many different people walking by from the booth, and they just, you engage them, like they're just looking at you and just sucking in everything that you're saying, that it just seems like you really enjoy giving that and just sharing your knowledge, sharing
I'm in love with people, so therefore I'm not intimidated by people, but I'm also not on the planet to hope people like me. Either you do or you don't.
Yeah.
For those who do respect my work and what I do, I stick with them. For those who don't, they can keep stepping. But I've learned over the years that my mother has taught me that I should treat people the way I want to be treated.
Absolutely.
And by virtue of that, a lot of people magnify to me in that manner because I have nothing but respect for them. You give me respect, I'll show you that. If not, then the Brownsville guy from Brooklyn comes out then.
We don't want that guy. We want the boy with the golden voice that gives us the golden touch.
And in that Midas touch, I've been touched wonderfully through my heart by my quote unquote fans. Sometimes they become family in an endearing manner because it's very difficult not to respond to love unless you're really dead inside.
You have to be cold,
You have to be dead inside not to respond to the love. And 99% of the time, I get a lot of love.
Good.
A few knuckleheads.
Anywhere you go.
So what? I've been a knucklehead for somebody out there.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
I enjoyed meeting you yesterday, and I've enjoyed sitting here talking to you, and I'm just looking forward to hopefully seeing you again in a couple of years.
I'm thoroughly encouraged.
The next reunion.
If not in the next couple of years, in the next couple of months. My autobiography will be published very soon.
Oh, so are you going to journey back to North Carolina?
I'm a writer. I prefer to be on tour with the book, and I was inspired by August Wilson to write my book in 5-decade components because I am comfortably in my 50s now. So by virtue of that, I write a book for each decade that I've been alive. So I do my theater years, then I do my television years, I do my college years and my journeys in living in East, West Africa and traveling globally.
And what's the name of the book?
So the first book one is called Ralph Carter, The Early Years.
The Early Years.
Book 2 is called For the Good Times. And book 3 so far is called Africa, My Window to the World. And the other 2 are in process, which will give me my entire complement of 5 books.
I'm looking forward to that.
I look forward to it too. I hope that the people who do read my work may learn from it, especially young students who are aspiring to be in the creative arts. I hope that I can give them some form of blueprint and roadmap to achieve their goals in the way that they wanted to achieve them. However, I tell them almost systematically how the industry is and how, as children, we were protected and not abused. I didn't have a unfortunate childhood life in show business. I don't know about some of these other young people who go through that, but that wasn't my experience.
That wasn't your story.
It wasn't my experience. And it always goes back to my family and how they treated me.
Yeah. And family, I mean, it makes the most sense.
Yes.
That with the right family background, that's how you are able to achieve things with the right support systems.
Yes.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
Heavenly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm David Cheney, film distributor office in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're glad to have you here on the boardwalk. I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and we want you to know that you are watching the show completely. Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, this is Terry Bauer, your host on the segment Shaking It Up right here on the show. And I just want to say, welcome to my world. And I want to thank LLOXX TV for inviting me to be here. That means a lot to me. A little bit about myself. I am a bona fide, certified, card-carrying liberal, and I'm not afraid to tell it like it is, to tell it how I see it, and to shake things up. And that's what we're going to be doing. I've been kicked out of high school. I've been kicked out of college. I've been excommunicated from churches. You name it, I've been there. And generally it has to do with something that I've published, something that I've said, just about any time, any place, everywhere where I've been. I've shaken it up. And that's what we're going to do. My segments are going to be about 5 minutes long, maybe 10 minutes if we do some interviews and that type of thing. But that short 5 minutes is going to be exciting. It's going to be packed with stuff that's going to cause you to think and maybe even evaluate some of your opinions. It reminds me of a quote by a famous author named Kurt Vonnegut. He said, "I want to be as close to the edge as I can without going over, because up on the edge you can see things that you can't see from the center." So everybody, come up on the edge with me. Let's take a look and see what we can see. It's going to be a ride, so hang on tight and let's get to work.
I'm Rob Douglas here at Winston-Salem at the National Black Theater Festival. You are watching the show.
And my name is Yvonne and I'm from New York. I'm here at the National Black Theater Festival in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and you're watching the show.
This your boy 50 from Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm chilling with my man LLOXX here in Show Studios, and this is what you're watching, the show.
All right. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I'd like to thank you once again for tuning in. And this is what I guess you could call our pilot episode. I just want to put something out there to let you people get a taste of what's going on with the show. I mean, we've got political stuff, we've got spoken word artists, we've got some educational things going on, we've got some comedy skits. You never know what you're going to see on the show. So tell a friend, and maybe they can join you the next time you tune in. I'll see you the next time on the show.